Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Aaron Rodgers is having another special day on Sunday. Rodgers is now tied with Brett Favre for fourth all-time in NFL touchdown passes, per The Athletic. Rodgers threw his 508th career touchdown pass against the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday. The Rodgers touchdown throw went to DK Metcalf in the second quarter of the Steelers-Seahawks game. It was Metcalf's first touchdown catch as a Steeler. He scored against his old team, Seattle. The Steelers are 1-0 on the season and looking to stay undefeated. Rodgers helped lift Pittsburgh to a win in Week 1 over the New York Jets. The veteran gunslinger tossed 4 touchdown passes in that game, including 2 in the fourth quarter. Rodgers and Favre both played the majority of their NFL careers with the Green Bay Packers. Rodgers actually succeeded Favre as Green Bay's starter. Both quarterbacks won a Super Bowl in Green Bay. Steelers hoping for success with Aaron Rodgers this season. The Steelers have big expectations with Rodgers this season. Rodgers teased that he might retire from the NFL this past offseason before deciding to join the Steelers in the summer. He spent his last 2 seasons with the Jets, and they were disappointing campaigns. Pittsburgh fans want the team to make another run at the Super Bowl. It's been more than a decade since Pittsburgh reached that NFL championship contest. Ironically, the Steelers lost to Rodgers and the Packers when they last appeared in the Super Bowl. The Steelers and Seahawks are playing at time of writing, with the score tied in the third quarter. The Steelers made a personnel change on third down to open the game, and it didn't have the desired impact. Quite the opposite. Seattle converted a 3rd and 6 and a 3rd and 10 on the initial possession en route to a touchdown and 7-0 lead. On those third downs, the Steelers had 3 outside linebackers on the field, with Nick Herbig joining starters T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith. Cameron Hayward was the lone defensive lineman, and Brandon Echols was used as the 5th defensive back. This plan was scuttled when Highsmith sustained a high ankle sprain, but perhaps it was for the best. Seattle converted 6 of 14 times on third down, and on one of those failures, they got 11 yards on 3rd and 12, then converted on a 4th down run. On another third down, the Seahawks gained 13 yards when 14 were needed. This time, they punted. On 4 of their third down conversions, the Seahawks moved the chains when 6 or more yards were needed. On a fourth-quarter touchdown drive that established the final score, Seattle got a 19-yard completion on a 3rd and 9, and Kenneth Walker ended any drama when he waltzed through the defense for a touchdown run on 3rd and 19. In Week 1, the Jets converted 7 of 14 third-down attempts en route to putting up 32 points. Seattle also scored a touchdown on its opening possession of the second half. The Steelers hadn't allowed an opponent to score touchdowns on the first possession of each half since San Francisco did it in the 2023 season opener. 2. Sackless streak continues. T.J. Watt's string of games without a sack increased to 5 when he was shut out again by the Seahawks. Factoring in the playoff loss at Baltimore and what hasn't recorded a sack in 6 consecutive games. Watt's longest stretch without a sack until the stretch run of 2024 was early in 2018 when he went 3 consecutive games without a sack. That matched his longest drought from his rookie season in 2017. That, of course, was before Watt won one NFL Defensive Player of the Year award and was a finalist on 4 other occasions. At least what put tangible pressure on quarterback Sam Darnold. He was credited with 2 hits, his first 2 of the season against an opposing passer. Watt is hardly alone in his inability to disrupt the passing game. The Steelers have just 3 sacks in their first 2 games. Rookie Jack Sawyer earned his first career sack against Seattle, as did inside linebacker Peyton Wilson. Highsmith had the Steelers' lone sack in the opener. 3. Not so special. Even without factoring in Caleb Johnson's gaffe on a kickoff return that resulted in a Seattle touchdown, it wasn't a time for the Steelers' special teamers to pump their chest. Kicker Chris Boswell excluded. Johnson began the second half by gaining just 13 yards on the kickoff, giving the Steelers possession at their 17. Corliss Whiteman also showed that while he possesses a powerful leg, he sometimes booms the ball too deep. In the first half, he hit a 60-yard punt, but it was negated by a 22-yard return. Another punt was returned 8 yards after traveling 54. In the second half, Whiteman uncorked a 64-yarder that bounced into the end zone for a touchback. It wasn't until his fourth and final attempt that he placed one inside the 20, a fair catch at the 9. The Seahawks, though, got out of the hole and eventually kicked a field goal that gave them a 17-14 lead they would not relinquish. 4. Historic throws. It was one of the shortest touchdown passes of Aaron Rodgers' 21-year career, the 2-yard jump ball that he threw to DK Metcalf in the second quarter that helped the Steelers take a 14-7 lead. It also was one that moved him into a tie for fourth place on the NFL's career touchdown passing list. The touchdown pass was number 508 for Rodgers, moving him into a tie with his Green Bay Packers predecessor, Brett Favre. Next up is Peyton Manning, who sits in the third spot with 539 touchdown passes. Rodgers also made history when his short toss to running back Jaylen Warren went for 65 yards. It was his 90th career completion of 50 or more yards, moving him into a tie with Drew Brees for most in NFL history. 5. They're number 1. The Steelers will lead the NFL in one positive category pending what transpires in the Monday night games. Through 2 games, the Steelers have been called for just 6 penalties. That is the fewest number charged against teams that have played 2 games. Tampa Bay had 5, and the Los Angeles Chargers 6 heading into their respective M&F matchups. It wasn't until late in the fourth quarter before the Steelers were whistled for their first infraction that stood. An earlier false start penalty against tackle Troy Fautanu was declined. Calvin Austin 3 was called for illegal motion, and Rodgers was flagged for intentional grounding. Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker Patrick Queen suffered a rib injury in the team's loss to the Seattle Seahawks. He played through the issue, but it is something to watch heading on to next week. Queen missed a few plays in the second quarter but returned and gutted it out for the rest of the game. He was initially listed as questionable to return. Queen is a 2-time Pro Bowler and the green dot of the Steelers' defense. He made the Pro Bowl after joining the Steelers last year and was a first-team All-Pro in 2023 during his last season with the Baltimore Ravens. The Steelers signed Queen to a 3-year, $41 million contract that will keep him with the team through the 2026 season. With money already sunken into the position with Roquan Smith, the Baltimore Ravens had to let Queen walk. Queen was notably upset the Ravens never offered him a deal to even think about returning. In his first season with the Steelers, Queen had an up-and-down season, and it did not go as well as the Steelers hoped. He played well in some aspects, but in others, he struggled and did not have great eye discipline or processing.